What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today I want to talk about the African American and how some African Americans are more nationalistic than they are Afrocentric, right? And I think this gets lost on a lot of Continental Africans when they interact with African Americans online, and they just don't. It kind of baffles them a little bit that they will see Africans that clearly look like them, clearly coming from, their group of people, acting as if they're not that group of people, right? With such energy, and I'm sure it baffles their mind, right? And I just want some Continental Africans to realize, and some American Pan-Africans who just haven't taken this into consideration, is that there are some Americans who are more aligned with nationalism. They're more aligned with America. They are, in fact, American, and they subscribe to the idea of Americanism over anything, right? And we have those group of people within the conservative side and the liberal side, of the white power structure, political white power structure in America, where if you have the conservative black nationalists, they tend to be conservative, and they're the ones that will complain about how, the small portion of African coons who collaborated with the Europeans when they came in and stole us from Africa and put us in the transatlantic slave trade, they will use the white trope. Because I want everybody to remember, it was white people that used black people, sold black people into slavery as a defense against us, accusing them of their actual actions. So the fact that the fever pitch of, you got all these black people saying, it was black people sold black people into slavery, that means that they have taken in, they have fallen for, and they have become susceptible to the white man's defense of their atrocious actions in Africa by concentrating on the few collaborators that helped or were manipulated into helping Europeans enslave us. All right, you got those are conservative. Then you got the ones that's more on the liberal side. They may not be saying it as much, but they believe in the foundation of America. It's all they know, right? So they want to get their liberation as black people, right? Even though black means African. But as time has gone on, they have forgotten about this major, they've forgotten about this, right? They totally forgot black means African, and that everything that they're fighting for is to fight, they're fighting to have their agency as Africans recognized over here in this land. But as we've been in the fight, that part has missed them, right? So you have a lot of Africans who are proud to be black, right? Which means African, by the way. But they are proud to be black, but they don't want to have anything, or they're not thinking to have anything to do with Africa. The liberal African American usually doesn't have a problem with Africans. They understand they come from Africa. They just believe that they are more an American than anything. They don't look at their race as number one, right? They look at their national identity as number one, which is to be American. They're sold on America, and they will go down with the American ship, even though the American ship was built off the blood, sweat, and tears of our African ancestors, right? So you got those ones. So sometimes when you see an African American, who some of these people want to disconnect even further from Africa, even though you can't, because black means African no matter how much you want to say it. They want to call themselves black American, as if they want to say they're an American, but they're a black version of that American. And they want the white version of that American to treat them with respect. It's been 500 years. They're still waiting and hoping for that white version of America to treat them with respect within the confines of the nationalistic identity, right? Where they get lost is they're assuming that if they become more American, if they subscribe to the nationalistic American, if they show these white Americans that, hey, despite everything that's going on, and despite all the things that I want from you, all the things I demand from you, all the things you've done to me, I am still an American, and you should treat me as an American. They feel like if they become more American, they'll be accepted by that white side, or maybe that white side will give them the reparations they deserve so they can all be one big, happy, united America. They're all about Pan-Americanism, right? So as Black Americans, they want their rights within the nationalistic structure of America. They're not thinking about the globe. They're not thinking global. These people are thinking locally, right? And in their minds, and because of the way we've grown up in America, Africa seems, keep in mind, the same propaganda that got a lot of these guys thinking that it was Africans selling Africans into slavery. But if they knew anything about real history, which they don't teach real African history in school. You have to go to college for that. But real African history, they only, you have to go to university for that type of stuff, right? But in high school, they teach you propagandized African history, just enough for you to know where you come from, but none of the details that is readily available. And if they wanted to have a real comprehensive contextual lesson on the transatlantic slave trade, the American slave trade, and everything that happened in between, after, and all the way to the present, they could do that, but they don't. Because if they were to do that, it would change the way that the people would be able to be manipulated. You couldn't manipulate. If you know what really happened, if any Black person that knows what really happened in history would never come out their mouth and say, Black people took Black people into slavery, and that's why I don't like a whole continent. That just, it sounds elementary, right, when they say it, but they don't know any better, right? Just like Africans on the continent, they don't know much about their actual history. They know a lot about their culture, but they don't know much about their actual history, because the Europeans and their curriculum that's in their schools don't teach them anything but colonialism and then after colonialism. So that's why you see there's a disparity when it comes to their actual knowledge of their own history pre-colonial rule, right? So just like you have the Igbos, the Hausas, and Fulanis, right, who are legitimately the same group of Africans, just broken up into different cultural or ethnic groups, because, you know, because they, for whatever reason, they separated from a common group of people, right? You know, the same way African Americans, because of the transatlantic slave trade, are a collection of those same groups, along with other groups of Africans who are a collection of those very same Africans displaced and brought over here to these United States of America, and over time has created various different combinations of African culture groups in the Americas. But we've been here so long, we claim in the America itself, all the things that makes it great are basically all the things that Africans have invented and created and built and facilitated through our blood, sweat, and tears. We feel like we're invested in this place called the United States of America, and do not want to leave that thing that our ancestors, our African ancestors, worked so hard for, unwillingly and willingly, to create, right? So a lot of African Americans, they identify with America. That's all they know. And a lot of you Africans, when I hear a lot of you guys, when you guys are making your critiques of African Americans, which is fine, right? We all can critique each other. Sometimes I hear you guys say you don't know your culture. Well, it takes an ignorant African who also doesn't know their culture past colonialism to say that to an African American without understanding the context that his tribe, along with the other tribe that they currently beef with tribalistically, because of those very same issues, are the reason why the white man was able to manipulate you guys, and we were ended up over here and had to deal with the things we had to deal with over here. So you can't be so offended when some African Americans say they subscribe to the nation of America, the nationalistic idea of America, the America that you all actively seek out to participate in, you know, the thing that we facilitated so that you guys can participate in. Understand that there are African Americans that don't see a future in Africa, right? They don't see a future in Africa. They don't see it. Now, they may not see it because they're not fully aware of what's happening. They're not fully aware of, because like I said, they are more aligned with their nationality than their race, even though they are aligned with their race within the context of nationality within the box that is called the United States of America, you know. But further outside of that, some of them, they either don't have, a lot of them don't have the money to go. That's just the truth. The majority of them don't, just like the majority of people don't got the money to fly around the world. They just don't have the money to go. They don't have the money or the time to go, because America doesn't give you time to do anything. So in order for an African American to spend his finite money and his finite time to go to Africa to do anything, it's going to take an incredible amount of energy, an incredible amount of context and motivation on that African's part, because doing business by itself is difficult. Doing international business is even more difficult, right? Understand the difficulty levels as we go up, you know. And so I just think that some continental Africans need to take this in consideration, that there are Africans who subscribe to the nationality of America. Just like there's some modern day continental Africans that have made their way over to America, and they don't give a shit about the country where they come from. They're all about the UK. They're all about America. They're all about Canada. They're all about France. They don't give a shit about their original countries. Just like 99.99% of Europeans in America. They don't care about England, France, Belgium, Germany. They don't care about the Netherlands. They don't care about them places. They are American. And a lot of foreigners who come from Europe, when they decide to come to America to subscribe to the American dream, a lot of them give up their race, their identity, their original identity for this new idea of American, and they hold on to it tight, right, for whatever reason. So when you're battling with your fellow brothers, because they still your brothers and sisters, whether they subscribe to their race or not, every day they wake up, they are that race, no matter what they want to say or do, right? No matter how much they may subscribe to the nationalistic ideology of wherever they come from, understand they're still African. They just they either don't know no better, or they do know better. They just made the decision to be more nationalistic than to be more race centric. And it's pretty much that simple. So tell me what you guys think about this in the comment section. This is Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.